go. Okay, so let's get into the questions that you guys sent over on Instagram. So let me look them up on my phone real quick if I can see. Okay. How do you handle your body changing? Wow, okay. So yeah, this one's a tough one. It's not easy. Thankfully, like I said earlier, I feel really, really good, so that doesn't affect me as much, but I was really body cautious before I had kids. You know, I did things that involved my body. I was a dancer. I did fitness shows. I worked out, you know, 6 times a week. And so I just always had that in my mind of just always wanting to be fit and healthy, which is nothing wrong with that. But it got to the point where when I got pregnant with her, it really showed me like, wow, you care about this way too much. And, you know, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong, again, with wanting to be healthy and fit and whatnot, but it just showed me like, yeah, you got your priorities just a little twisted. So, but it's okay as a mom and a woman to not feel so great when their body changes. So if you've been pregnant, you know, like your uterus expands, your waist thickens. You know, with me, how my body changes is I get hormonal acne. Breakouts are really hard for me to control when I'm pregnant, just because your skin changes. I get dry patches. Constantly having to just fight those breakouts is super, super hard. My mom actually never ever got stretch marks, and so the myth is if your mom never got stretch marks, you won't get stretch marks. Not true. I actually got, so I don't know if you know me and seen pictures of me when I was pregnant with Noelia, my belly was like a torpedo. Like, it didn't like come around, it literally just like went out and just pointed straight, like almost through the belly button. And so around my belly button, I have some like faded stretch marks, and like if you were to just see me like normal, not pregnant, you wouldn't notice it, but of course I notice it. And I also got them like in my legs, which I'm like, I never even thought to put like lotion there. Whether it would have helped, I don't know, but like you just can't control stuff like that. Like, you can try your best to you know, put a little this lotion on or whatever, and it does help, and drink your water, but if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And that's one of those things where you think it'll really, really bother you, and you think that it'll just mess up your body and whatnot, but once that baby comes and your body settles down and those stretch marks fade, it's so minute. And yeah, I have my moments where I complain about it, where I wish they weren't there, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's so silly. So my body changing, yeah, it affects me, but I think because I've been through it once and I'm doing this again, I know, hey, you got back to yourself before, you can do it again. Yes, every pregnancy is different, but I view it as a challenge. I view it as, you know, this is where I'm at in my life, and I need to embrace every stage of pregnancy and the changes that come with it, because if you're not enjoying it when you're in it, it only makes your mind so much harder to be okay with it afterwards. And thankfully I never got postpartum depression, and I know a lot of women suffer from that, and I'm not saying that it comes from a body image thing, but you can't tell me that there's not some of it that does. Thankfully I never got that, but yeah, it's just every day there's something different. There's a breakout, there's a stretch mark, there's whatever. So it is hard, but at the end of the day, because I went through it once, I feel like I have the confidence that I can do it again. So, question number 2. Does relationship with friends change after having a baby? Yes and no. So thankfully for me, I have some great friends. I keep a close circle. I believe it's better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. So I have some really good best friends. I will say though that I was the very first one in my friend group to get married and to have a baby. And I think it was hard in some ways, and probably my friends, they probably don't think I feel this way, or they never thought of this, but it's natural to, I don't know, to assume somebody's busy, and I know all moms feel this way, like people just assume you're busy. They're just like, I'm not gonna ask her to hang out because they know she'll just say no. I felt that way a lot, where my friends are hanging out or people are hanging out and I'm like, where was my invite? Like, yeah, I probably would have said no just because I'm in a different point in my life. Like, you know, I am a mom, and you know, especially if you're breastfeeding, it's really hard. But it's still like, I just felt like you could have still invited me. And even if I said no, like, it's okay. So I struggled with that, and I'm not mad at my friends for it, and I'm not mad at anybody for it, because again, they're at a different stage, so it's just hard for them and then for me to think the same, just because it's just something you don't think about. They see it as a no-brainer and it hurts me, or something that hurts them doesn't hurt me. Like, so it does, and I think it's different for every person and how your friends are. Again, I was the first one of my friends to have kids, but that girl is spoiled because of it. Like, she has some great aunts, as I call them, and they spoil her and love her, and I think that outweighs any form of miscommunication that there may have been or maybe in the future. So thankfully for me, it hasn't been bad. But so yeah. How has pregnancy changed you and Brody as a couple? This is a good one. So at first, like with Noelia, it was a lot. So we just got married and we didn't have a lot of money, and we were living in an apartment, and we had to change apartments, so we had an extra room, which actually never even ended up working because the room was constantly freezing, and so she always was in our room, and it was, oh, thankfully I'm in a house now. But like, so with pregnancy and marriage, again, it's couple to couple. For us, I think what affected us the most was afterwards. So Noelia was a tough baby. I breastfed her, and she never took a bottle, probably because I didn't introduce it to her soon enough, but I really wanted her to breastfeed, so I was concentrated on the latch and the bond, and it was just easier, just whip a boob out and feed him rather than, oh, let's make a bottle. And it was just easier that way. And so she just never liked bottles. We tried so many different kinds of nipples, and she never liked binkies. And so I was the only one that could soothe her. So I was always tired. We co-slept for a year. And of course that affects your relationship with your husband because you don't have like alone bedtime. So I was so focused that first year on her, like as it should be, but I let the relationship with me and Brody suffer because of it. And he is a great guy, and he'll never say this, but I really did let that go, and not so much intentionally. Some of it was intentional because one of the things, you're my husband, you'll be there, you love me, like blah blah, but like, you still need to date your spouse, and you still need to make the effort. And when you start getting into that life rhythm, that's when you know you need to switch things up. And that's what I was doing. I was getting into that life rhythm, and I know, like, I just had a baby, I need to give myself some grace, which I know. But at the end of the day too, like, if you and your spouse aren't okay, that translates into the love you give your child, whether you believe that or not. That's just my personal opinion. And so we definitely had some fights. We definitely had moments where we were not each other's favorite person, and we still do. He's gonna laugh when he watches this. But it affected us a lot, just in that sense, because she was a tough baby, like, meaning like I was the only one that could soothe her because the breastfeeding and the no bottle thing, and like he would try to feed her and have that bond with her too, and she would take like a couple gulps and that'd be it out of a bottle. So it was really hard on us because I always had her. She was always attached to me. And so I was always tired, I was always crabby, I was always stressed because I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't. So I'm sure you can see where I'm going, is it really did affect us. Now, as she's a toddler, there's still those similar things where I feel like it's so natural for a mom just to put everything into her kid, and then like what's left over her husband gets. But that it shouldn't be that way. And so with 2, it's gonna be interesting how that goes, but we'll see. Pray for us. 1 is 1, 2 is 20. So, but that's just me being blunt. Like, we're not perfect. We have so many flaws. But getting married young is not the cause of that at all. If anything, I would have married him sooner, to be honest. So, yeah. Hopefully I answered that well. I feel like I'm ranting. What made you want to have a fit pregnancy? This one's kind of a no-brainer just because I was body conscious before, so naturally I was like, I need to get back into it. I need to like get back to where I was or whatever. So for me, it was that I've always been a very determined, very just like passionate, goal-driven person. So having that helped out a lot. And just like when you feel good, your baby feels good. So for me, it was like my duty. Like, I'm not working out just for me anymore. I'm working out for this baby, because if I start to lose myself and eat like crap and not be like my normal active self, that's gonna translate into my baby. And so, and then plus like working out makes me happy too. And I just knew I couldn't lose that. So that's a good question. Do you ever have body shaming thoughts? Yes, all the time. Just because, again, going back to like the stretch mark thing, having stretch marks, your tits get bigger, like you get stretch marks in places you never thought you would. For me, I'm gonna be my biggest in the summer. I'm doing July, so I'm gonna start seeing all my fellow bloggers and friends and cute little bikinis and rocking their bodies, and I'll be in bikini too. I'll just look way different. So yeah, it is hard just because we're gonna be rolling into summer, and as a fashion blogger, everybody's gonna be in like the shorts and the crop tops and the super cute clothes, and I know I'll still try my best to look super cute, but there is that selfish part in me that's like, oh, I wanna wear that, or oh, I wanna wear high-waisted jeans, or oh, I wanna wear that bikini and feel like I can rock it, because it's hard. It's hard when you get bigger, especially because you just feel larger than you look. And like for me with Noelia, my face got puffy in the end, and I just had that pregnancy face, so you just don't feel good. And I'm gonna be in the thick of it in the summer when everybody's looking bomb. So yeah, I have those thoughts all the time. And I think it's completely okay too, like you're human. Okay, let's go. Is it difficult to adjust your workouts while pregnant? For me, no. So I've been working out like hardcore, so like 6 days a week, for about 7 years, ever since I met Brody. And so I knew what I was doing. Like when I went to a gym, I knew my goal every day. I knew, okay, back day, chest day, this type of cardio, this much cardio, whatever. And so no, now since I'm getting into the second half of the pregnancy, towards the end, I feel like I do this too much, sorry. It is gonna have to be modified. You can no longer lie on your back just because something with like a vessel or a vein, I'm not, sorry, I don't really know, but it restricts blood supply to the baby, I believe, is what happens. So you can't lay on your back anymore, so you can't do like chest press stuff, or ab work laying down, but you shouldn't really do ab work anyway. So for me, no, just because I'm very knowledgeable in workouts, so I know what else I can do, and I know how else to work my body when I have to cut something back. But if you're somebody that isn't familiar with workouts and the variety of everything, yeah, it could be difficult. But for me, it's not, thankfully. Okay. How do you combat, so this is like, I should have answered this one next to the last one, but how do you combat negative thoughts? Honestly, working out. Working out's like my saving grace. It's my stress reliever, it's my anxiety reducer, it's everything. And with negative thoughts, it's one of those things where you just have to think it and let it go, and have a really good, loving husband that still loves your curves. So, how are you dealing with losing your control of your body? This kind of goes into one of those other questions too. Again, you can't really plan for it. You can't really control it. So dwelling on it does nothing. Again, it helps that I've been through this once, so I know what's going to happen, and I kind of know how to handle it when baby does come. Again, I could be saying that and then they come and I have no idea. But you just take it day by day. You really just have to take it day by day and just know that your worth isn't found in your self-image. It's found in so many other places. So there's more questions, but they all kind of, because we're kind of getting into them now, where they kind of all correlate. So that's the majority of them. Thank you guys for sending those in. I want to do this again once I get bigger. I hate saying that word, but bigger, just to see if maybe my answers change a little bit. But as of right now, I feel great and I'm super happy about that. Thank you guys for being so supportive over on Instagram and rooting me on in my little bump in my pregnancy outfits. It's been fun and it's been a joy. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Sorry if I went on some tangents and the crying and everything. It's a lot, but it's an emotional time. It's just, you know, life's gonna change again, and I can't even like fathom what it's gonna be like as a family of 4 or 5 if you include Bernard. Okay guys, so sorry this is a long video. I know I ranted, and if you made it this far, thank you. So again, stay tuned for more videos like this where I just chat with you. If you have pregnancy questions for me, leave them in the comments or send them to me over Instagram at NikkiSchmieder_fit. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a good comment if you liked it, and I hope you guys have a good day.